person I kiss is my little dog. Um, and so maybe it resonated with me when she said that because I've been accused of that as well. And I didn't really link it to intimacy problems, but there is some type of wall or some type of something. I guess now I should think about that. Because when she said it, it didn't resonate as BS to me. It resonated as real when she said that. When some of her other stuff has screamed BS, I felt like she was partially telling the truth there. And maybe that's why I could relate to it. But I do agree she doesn't like him as well. So that's an added problem. So
And I think also as well, like getting some, and of course, some you can, and there's different formats of this because you can like somebody, but you struggle to want to let that person too close to you. It feels almost like they're clingy, or it may feel like they're doing too much. It may feel like, you know what, this person's kind of impeding on my personal space. Some people we like to keep our personal space. And I was just talking to a friend about this the other day, and I was like, normally, if I like you, I don't mind you impeding on my space for a little bit. But if you do too much, I start getting annoyed. Whether you're my girlfriend, whether you're a friend, you start impeding on my space. And it's because I like to hold a certain level of independence. And that person clinging to me gets annoying. And I realize it's because the way I deal with my emotions is that I tend to try and keep some level of distance or some level of an independence from people. I like to have a little bit of space between myself and others, to hold people off a little bit. I don't want you to be too much on me, right? But it's my attachment style. And so when she was saying that, I truly do believe that was her genuine thing. I'm not a great kisser. Like, why was she? Because, for her to do kind of like you know, um, depreciate herself in that moment, I was like, yeah, no, she's telling the truth. She ain't lying about that. She generally does feel that way. And of course, is added with the fact that she doesn't want to kiss him as well. So it's like, it's a double whammy. You know what I mean? Like, you don't like to do that behavior. And then this person, you don't like them either. It's even more annoying. You know what I mean? So, but it's something that she's going to have to work through to get over. Because when they had a conversation later on, when they were talking, um, she was like, oh, I don't want you talking at me. I want you to talk to me, because he did go on a little monologue. I can't lie to you. Shaq be doing little monologues, and the monologue was a little bit of a let me teach you moment. Like, oh, you need to. He's like, she was like, oh, she needs him to hold that emotional space, for her. And then he was like, well, you need to, I want to be honest with you, you need to be intentional with yourself. You need to be intentional with yourself. You need to be intentional with yourself. And then that's when he went a little bit of a monologue of talking about how, and it was so funny because she was like, she basically she wants to have more space to be able to be more emotive and talk about herself. And Shaq was like, I feel like I talk too much about myself in this relationship. But the very next thing that he does is then he says, you know what, advocate for yourself. And then the camera cuts, so we don't know if she spoke. It cuts and he ends up talking for the next minute or so about himself. So the very thing that you telling me that you don't want to do much of, you keep doing. So I'm not saying that's going to cause her not to want to kiss her. I'm saying there are two sides that are happening here of learning on both sides. You know what I mean? So it was just interesting to kind of see that aspect as well. So yeah, I don't know that part. Only you open your mic, go for it.
Oh, I didn't. She. I'm not saying she can't have standards, but again, like, she's not making any indication that she actually likes this guy, which is kind of that's the obvious thing. Like, I agree with you, but that's the main issue that we're having. If she had any inklings that she liked this person and she was reserved of doing these things on camera, I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt. But it's just like she's making it hard for us to hard for us to believe that she's going to need this much time in order to feel comfortable, and then now proceed with giving infection. And has Shaq said anything damaging or anything to reduce her trust in her? The only thing negative he had to say was them delaying the honeymoon by 1 day. And we've seen how she reacted about that. It's a good thing I mean, you could say she apologized or at least her intentions toned down when they got to the honeymoon, but it's 1 day. Everything is like, unless it doesn't embed Kristen, she's unhappy and she's willing to concede. And this is how it is during the first week. What's going to be when they start tackling bigger and harder issues? It's Nicole and Chris. Like they are not ready to have that type of conversation at this chicken point, and it's not because of Shaq, in my opinion.
Miss Nebraska, you want to join the conversation? We're talking about Shaq and Kirsten. What's your thoughts?
Hello to the panel. Good evening. I think that Kristen, I think she's faking the funk. I think I agree with Cecily, what she said earlier. Um, I think she's been watching the previous seasons. I don't think she wants to like be the villain, so she's playing it safe right now. And it's giving fake vibes, obvious fake vibes. You can tell she's not into the guy. She's giving him several reasons why she don't want to kiss him. Um, so I think she's playing it safe right now. That's just my thoughts on Kristen.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kirsten is a slow burner, but not this slow. I'm just honest with you. Slow burner, yeah, I hear you, but not this way. And I'll be honest with you. This is the same thing with Mela and the girl situation. We all knew she had a slow burner. She don't want him, and it's okay. You know, it's okay that you don't want the person. And yeah, she's probably trying to protect her reputation. She wants to make sure she doesn't get seen in a negative light. Doesn't want to get seen as being. But the reality is, the more excuses you give, the more we see you in that light. So you're still being you're still kind of doing yourself a disservice. But she was honest in some aspect where she said, you know what, I wasn't initially attracted to you. And I'm trying to grow that attraction towards you. So that was a level of honesty that was needed. Do you know what I mean? I think the further honesty is, you know what, me kissing you right now, I'm not there yet because I'm not fully attracted to you, and I don't want to give the false impression. Because what she did say to us in the green screen confession was, kissing leads to sex. That's what she told us, right? She told us that for her, kissing is going to lead to more things, So she has that in her mind as well. So I think personally, I'm not really angry at Kirsten, to be honest, per se. It's not like she's doing a horrible job or anything, or trying to nuke him or anything. We just want her to be a little bit more honest and be like, hey, babe, we know. Listen, girl, you see the bar lead, it's not for you. You're not on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't drag him into a long thing, And then asking him to hold an emotional space when you know that you ain't gonna be there. Yeah, that's kind of cheeky. You know what I mean? Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Sorry, what is it? The rest, you want to say something again?
So, I'm just curious. Do you guys think that the producers on this show this season, like, deliberately did this on purpose? Do you think that this season is a little bit more dry? Like they're trying to create this like drama for ratings? Like what are your feelings so far about this season?
You're asking, you think it's drier than normal or more exciting than normal?
I think it's drier than normal. I think the producers tried to like shake things up this season, but it's not giving the ratings that they're normally used to. Something's off about this season, but I can't quite put my finger on it. I wanted to get you guys' perspective.
I think they did pick more on the surface normal people, but I think they're going to get some natural organic drama versus trying to like throw crazies into the mix and then seeing what happens. I think there's going to be some natural drama with Clint and Gina as like just like regular two people who don't get along. I'm sure there's going to be stuff that's going to go on with that young girl and that older man, with his family, the biracial girl and um her husband, and then heiress is heiress, you know what I mean? So I think it's starting off slow, but I think we may get some organic stuff that we haven't gotten other seasons when they just throw nonsense together. But I also don't see any good matches this season except for maybe Nicole and her husband. Everybody else is just like a horrible match. So I don't know. I think they try to switch it up, I guess, to answer your question is what I think.
Crystal, welcome to the conversation. We're talking about Kirsten and Shaq. What's your thoughts?
To answer your point, well, hey everyone, how are you doing? So I don't think it's drier. I think it's about to get spicy, but I do think that they have had a lot of backlash about the previous seasons, and so they're really not the crazy mess that was the hurricanes. And I think that a lot of people did not like, seeing Black people like that. So, and not just Black people, just everybody. So I think that they probably tried to go in a little bit of a different direction, but it's gonna get messy. Shaq, I'm really glad that you guys are saying this and having this take on it, because I was like, this girl, she don't like him, and she's being rude, and that's fake, and everything. Even the sound of her voice was annoying me. Are you okay that I just don't like kissing? And I was, and I just don't kiss a lot. I was really, but now that you say this, I am of the mindset that maybe there is a little bit more something there, and she doesn't like him. But besides that, I don't think that she knew what she was really getting into. When I say that, yes, she knew she was getting married, but who they're putting her with, she's like, oh, well, he is actually something. And I might start to like this guy and everything. She's like, I really wasn't attracted to your bald head when we first started. I'm glad that he's about to start to speak up, because he's like, I don't know if I'm doing good or bad, because she's not giving him anything. She's not giving him any type of affection. So I'm hoping that he does start to speak up, because he's giving her a lot of excuses. But I was like, oh no, this girl, she's becoming really evil. And I actually thought that there was some Jasmina in there. I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. But now that you guys are saying this, there's some brick walls. There's some huge brick walls, because I feel like she's already friend zoned him. She's friend zoned this man, and that's it. Also, I appreciate, because I've driven ATVs in Canada in rough terrains. It was my first time doing it. And actually, that's one of the safest things you can do. But at the same time, if this man has trauma behind, car, being in a car or something unsafe like that, you should consider that. You should, be a little bit considerate of that. And she was just like, oh, I just thought that he wasn't going to do it. And she kind of started to tease him. I was like, you're really not even considering that this may be kind of traumatic for him. I take it easy and stuff like that. I'm careful for a reason, and people have been careful. My family's been like careful around me for a reason. But I'm glad that he, tried it. And with people like that have been through a specific trauma, you ease them into stuff like that. Because I really thought that she was going to just be really be belittling about that. I do want to talk about how he I think that when he gets nervous, or when he goes back into his teaching bag, when he's like, when a conversation is not going the way he wants to, or he starts to that mentor thing. I don't think it's on purpose. I don't think that he looks at her like one of his students. But I was like, oh, you're going to have to just keep an eye on that, because he's not talking at her. But it did start to sound like that. If you're somebody that has a brick wall up, and you're talking to someone and you don't express yourself the way somebody else expresses themselves, and she just needs a little bit more time, and you've been a teacher and you've been around people and you've had like training in this, and you just go for it. It did sound kind of just preachery, and I don't think it was intentional for him to do that. So it's just something for him to watch. But I was like, she's gonna look for a reason not to like him. She's gonna look for a reason to have an issue, and but I think he's going to start to speak up. I'm hoping that he starts to speak up, and because I feel like he's intentionally taking it easy, and that's not going to work with her. That doesn't work with her. You got to be very straightforward. That's it for now.
Yeah, you know what? I forgot about the ATV situation. I remember. I don't think I watched it, but I was listening to it on my headphones, and I do remember. So it reminds me of last season with Stasia and Nate situation. So I have to give the equal smoke, which was I said the same thing. I said when Nate decided to pop off on his ATV and ride ahead, that's not how we do things. Especially when you're in a partnership. That's the unfortunate thing, you know. Without at least there being some form of communication, you want to go fast. I hear that, right? But without there being some form of communication, and letting another person know that's what you want to do, you kind of leave that person in the lurch. Do you know what I mean? And you again, it's similar to Aris as well about forcing the boundary out of somebody. You know, there needs to be communication in the aspects of boundaries, and you know, you want to be able to communicate and talk and say to a person, hey, look, you know what, this is what I want to do, and you know, I want to be able to move in this particular way. But she didn't actually do that. She just decided we gonna go this way. Now here's my thing, okay? If Shaq doesn't get the balls to create boundaries, he gonna get dragged in the mud, because the person he's dealing with is no fool. The person he's dealing with knows she's a fine ass babe, and now I spoke about this in the dark arts. I said, when someone has your number, we match ourselves against people. And when someone gives you all the cards they're holding, when I let you know that I'm fully feeling you, I found you attractive, and you can see all your cards on the table, there are some people who will just take all your cards and run with it, which is what happens later on when they're sitting down on the hammock situation, and she's able to say confidently, you know, I know you think I'm nice, da 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 da. She can say that out of her mouth because she knows exactly where you stand, and that is where you're gonna have the biggest issue. So without there being someone to stand up and say, hey, look, do you know what, this is my boundaries, this is what I'm about, I gotta let you know. Shaq is too accommodating and too understanding right now because she's such a fine babe. That's his biggest issue. It's not that he's understanding to a point because she's such a fine babe. That's where you're going to have issues. I'm not about to give you more than I need to give you. I can understand to a degree, but if you start to step on my toes, I got to let you know you're stepping on my toes. Or if I think you're offending me, I got to let you know. And I feel like Kirsten knows what she's doing with Shaq, and she has some level of power over him because he's shown all the cards. And this is, you know, unfortunately, this is what's happening here as well. So she's going to use him for an ego fill, because that's what he's going to end up becoming. He's going to fill her ego, you know.
I was going to ask you about that. What did you think about when he says, well, you don't have to prove anything to me. I think you're beautiful. Like I still get butterflies. I was like, stop saying that. That's because like you said, that's that ego. Yeah, I still get butterflies seeing you walk down the aisle, and he's oozing it. So he's putting on all of the butter and sugar on this girl. And she was like, I know he likes me. I know I don't have to do any work. She doesn't have to do anything for this man to like her and for it to keep going. And he needs to speak up. And actually the horse thing that actually gave me Olajuwon, and I was like, are you teasing him? And maybe that was off camera, but I was like, you've got to stop. This man has already had a trauma and he's never been on an ATV. So you just like let him take some time. The one time might be slower, and then the next time he'll do it and he'll feel a little more comfortable. And like or like Vincent and Brianna with horse. Don't just, man's never been on a horse. You're gonna put him on a horse? That's something that could really kill him. So don't do something like that. I've been on an ATV, but if you've never been and you got trauma behind it, it's not a good idea. But I feel like she is somebody that will quickly turn belittling if she gets the chance. If he, you know, if he lets her, he needs to speak up. He needs. But I also think she doesn't like him, and there's some issues there. There's some walls there. She's like, I can put the walls up because I don't have to do any work.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was going to add to swing the pendulum a little in the other direction. I definitely thought she had a point. Is the way he, and we talked about this a little bit, the way he positioned going to the conference with to her. He could have definitely done a better job in terms of making it an option.